Breaking news. Zaporizhzhia's nuclear power plant is a flashpoint as both Ukraine and Russia accuse each other of sabotage. Occupied Ukraine is on edge as Russia and Ukraine accuse each other of planning an attack on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, which is in Russian hands. As Europe's largest nuclear plant, with 6 reactors, any attack on the facility, which has been seized by Russian troops, could have catastrophic consequences. It has long been the subject of mutual suspicion between the two warring sides. According to operational data, explosive devices were reportedly placed on the roof of the station's 3rd and 4th reactors earlier on Tuesday, and an attack was possible in the near future, according to a statement released by the Ukrainian Armed Forces on Tuesday. If detonated, they would not damage the reactors but would create the image of shelling from the Ukrainian side, the Telegram statement said. Ukrainian military was ready to act under any circumstances, it said. Later that day, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced Russia was planning to simulate an attack on the plant in his regular evening video message. Or they might be imagining something else entirely. The only country that poses a threat to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is Russia, but the world sees this and cannot ignore it. Mr. Zelensky said emphatically. He claimed to have discussed the issue with French President Emmanuel Macron, and that the two of them agreed to keep the situation under maximum control together with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency of the United Nations. Renat Karcha, an advisor to the head of Rosenergodom, which operates Russia's nuclear network, claimed that Ukraine planned to drop nuclear waste-tainted ammunition on the plant. According to Russian media reports, Mr. Karcha said that on the night of July 5 the Ukrainian military would try to attack the Zaporizhzhia station using long-range precision equipment and kamikaze attack drones. On Wednesday, Dmitry Peskov, a spokesman for the Kremlin, said that there was a great threat of sabotage by the Kyiv regime, which could have catastrophic consequences, and that all measures are being taken to counter such a threat. Mr. Zelensky, the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Mr. Karcha, or Mr. Peskov have all failed to provide evidence to back up their claims. Nuclear power plant must be demilitarized, says IAEA. For over a year, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, has been trying to secure an agreement to guarantee the plant's demilitarization and lessen the likelihood of a nuclear accident. Both sides are constantly accusing the other of shelling the area near the plant, which could cause a major nuclear accident. Since the Russian takeover, IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi has visited the plant 3 times, but has been unable to reach an agreement to protect the facility from shelling. Mikhailo Podolyak, an advisor to Zelensky, recently told Ukrainian television that Mr. Grossi had been ineffective in his efforts to maintain plant safety. This has not gone over well on the Ukrainian side. Mr. Podolyak said, any disaster at Zaporizhzhia could have been prevented if Mr. Grossi had been clear straight away, accusing the IAEA of taking a back-and-forth stance on the issue. In place of this man's typical antics of a clown. And when disaster strikes, he'll claim, they warned us of the risks and had nothing to do with it. The Kremlin says the report from Xi is made up. Earlier this week, the Financial Times reported that Chinese President Xi Jinping had personally warned Russian President Vladimir Putin against using nuclear weapons in Ukraine. The Kremlin, however, dismissed this as fiction on Wednesday. The British newspaper claimed, based on interviews with unnamed Western and Chinese officials, that Mr. Xi had delivered the warning to Mr. Putin in a personal meeting in March. Speaking on behalf of the Kremlin, Dmitry Peskov said, "No, I can't confirm it." Mr. Peskov stated that the two nations had issued lengthy statements regarding the discussions. The statement was followed by the adoption of several documents that detail the negotiations in greater detail. The rest is made up. In a telegram message, Mr. Zelensky's chief of staff was quoted as saying that China's reported position was important regarding the nuclear threat from the insane Russian terrorist. According to the article's sources, Putin independently decided that a nuclear strike would not give Russia an advantage in Ukraine because it would likely turn areas Putin has claimed for Russia into irradiated wastelands while doing little to help his forces advance.